It will all work out well, end quote. On January 29th,
this is DayTradeReport.com. We're listening to Nanette Berrigan question vaccine official Dr. Rick Bright.
And the president echoed that comment publicly the following day. This disconnect between the analysis of public health experts and the public statements by the administration leaders continued through February. Let me give you some more examples. In early February, you continued to raise the alarm bell within HHS about the imminent mask shortages and the lack of preparations for the wave of infections that you saw coming. Thank you for doing that. Yet, in public remarks on February the 10th, President Trump stated, "It looks like by April..."
You see, this is all political. They also have Bobby Rush there, an Illinois congressman who was reported in the news yesterday that he is partnering with some, I think it was some tech company or...
You have said that experts...
Anyways, I believe it had to do with vaccinations.
The number of N95 respirator masks needed to protect healthcare workers and other Americans in a pandemic was close to 3.5 billion. Yet, in testimony on February 25th, Secretary Azar said the U.S. would only need 300 million N95 respirators. That's an order of magnitude so much less than what you stated. Throughout February, you continued your warnings. I would say that your hair was on fire about the dangers of millions of Americans faced from this virus.
In February? I never heard of this guy. What the hell are you talking about, Nanette?
Characterized the number of cases this way. Well, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, that's a pretty good job you've done. End quote. By March 10th, there were over 1,000 diagnosed COVID-19 cases in the United States, and over 30 deaths had been attributed to the virus in this country. Yet the president that day told the country, quote, "It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away." End quote. He couldn't have been more wrong. Today we have over 1.4 million cases. Dr. Bright, what impact do you believe that statements by the administration leaders downplaying the COVID-19 crisis throughout February had on the ability of our public health system to mount an effective response to the COVID-19 virus?
Here we go. He really has to collect his thoughts here.
Americans need to be told the truth. I believe that the best scientific guidance and advice was not being conveyed to the American public during that time. I believe by not telling America the truth or being fully transparent, regardless of where the information was coming from, people were not as prepared as they could have been and should have been. We did not forewarn people, we did not train people, we did not educate them on social distancing and wearing a mask as we should have in January and February. All of those forewarnings and all those educational opportunities for the American public could have had an impact on further slowing this outbreak and saving more lives.
Thank you, Dr. Bright. I want to thank you for sharing your perspective with us today. I hope that over the course, I hope that your courage in coming forward helps our country forge a better path than the disastrous course chartered by this administration to date. I yield back.
Yeah, yield back and put your face mask on, Nanette.
Reserves.
Come on, Nanette, put your face mask back on.
Delaware, Ms. Lisa Blunt Rochester. 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And thank you, Dr. Bright, so much for
another
your
Democrat from Delaware at large, Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester.
As you can hear from our colleagues, there is not a person in this room or in this country who hasn't been personally touched by COVID-19. And your statement that we need to be told the truth is probably the most important statement we've heard all day, because we know that if we don't face it, we can't fix it. So I want to personally thank you on behalf of all Americans for your courage to testify before us today. And I want to say that
I'm a little confused. Why is this a courageous act?
It's really on three things. Number one,
it would only be courageous in the sense that if this was political, which it is.
What do we need to do now? And number three, what can we do to prevent or mitigate the risks of an additional wave of COVID-19? It's clear since January of this year that there has been a failure on the part of the administration to use the scientific evidence that's been presented by the nation's top public health officials, to take a failure on the part of the administration to use the scientific evidence that's been prevented by the nation's top public health officials to take comprehensive.
Why does she sound like she's about to break out into tears at any second? Oh my God.
To respond
Blunt.
to COVID-19. One of the most pressing outstanding needs that has yet to be addressed is the need for a national testing strategy.
Here we go.
Right in your testimony, you
Testing
mentioned
strategy.
the need for such a strategy that ensures
You will not be allowed
among other
to exist
things,
anymore in
available to
society
everyone
unless
who
you are
needs them.
tested. Unless there's
I,
testing
along
all over
with,
the place.
Congressman Colin Peterson and Representative Vela from Texas wrote a letter to the Democratic and the Republican House leadership in the House and the Senate, and we really impressed upon them the need for outlining the importance of a robust testing plan for our testing and tracing. And while
Testing and tracing. Here we go.
6 million diagnostic tests per week, healthcare experts say that we're woefully short of the estimated 30 million tests per week that we need to get America back to work as safely and confidently as possible and to avert or mitigate a second wave of COVID-19, which is one of my biggest concerns. Dr. Bright, what are the immediate steps that HHS needs to be taking to ramp up testing capacity now through the fall, and what targets should they be held accountable for?
I think what's really interesting about the testing story that gets lost in the narrative sometimes is the confusion about the different types of tests. There's an antigen test that tells you if you have the virus in you. There's a PCR test that says if maybe there are fragments of the virus, and there's this antibody test that looks at your antibody titer to try to tell you you've been exposed already, maybe immune to the virus.
So there's three different types of
And I
tests.
think the first thing HHS needs to do is determine which of those tests is most important to achieve which objective. If the antigen test is what's needed because it's faster and lower cost and more readily available in some cases, what does it tell Americans? What does it tell employers? What does it tell schools about the potential for an individual who has a positive or negative on that test and their potential to have a different result the next day or later that day? There's a lot of confusion about these tests. So I think the first thing that HHS should do is determine the type of test and how that test would be used effectively. And then make sure that we have
This,
enough of those types of tests and they're in the right
This is
place.
rapidly
People
becoming
using
completely
it,
and
know what it
entirely
is, how to use it,
pointless.
how to use it effectively.
But we will
I think
continue
there's
to
a lot
record some of
confusion
it.
there, and they need
2.5
to
minutes
use
left.
HHS to distinguish those challenges and clarify that for the American public. It's not just a test. Many different tests, they tell you different things.
Thank you, thank you. And why do you think that our nation has struggled with ramping up the testing capacity, unlike other countries? And were there contingencies in place or a backup in light of this situation we're in now?
I think part of the struggle is waiting too late to think about it and to get it started. And when we've had conversations with some manufacturers, they've been very creative in how they can ramp up. Another part of the challenge is we've allowed many of these capabilities to be offshore. And so we have much more capability of expanding domestic capacity when it's in our country, and we can ramp up. And
Oh, everything's in China.
The US.
Everything
But
is
if
in
the
China
supply
nowadays.
chain
Is that right, Mr.
offshore,
Bright?
And there's a global need and competition for that supply chain that also significantly impairs our ability to ramp up.
Again, I just want to thank you so much for the time that you have contributed to our country, but also for your courage to be here right now. Many of us are challenged as Democrats and Republicans to make sure that our country is safe and healthy, and it really is. I don't think I've ever in my lifetime seen anything like this, and it does require us to look back and at the same time look forward and make sure that we have what we need as a country. So I thank you again, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Oh, thank you, Miss Blunt.
Gentlewoman
How blunt.
back, does the minority,
How blunt of you, Miss Blunt.
all right, then it's a pleasure to recognize the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Rush, for his 5 minutes. of
Okay, now
question.
this should be good. All right, now this should be really good. We got to make sure we have enough time on this one. All right, go to the next video. You can watch Bobby Rush, the biggest bullshitter in the Congress. All these people are full of what you call bullshit. The biggest bullshitters Not quite as big bullshitters as religious charlatans, but they are bullshitters. So go to the next video to watch Bobby Rush.